Awesome. Hey team, we're going live. Just really quick, I want to let y'all know I have to set up the Instagram live and then also turn off this fan because it's probably loud as shit. Okay, so let me just really quick set up the Instagram live. Okay, welcome. This is going to be a new camera angle for checking up on dry aged pork. I just want to make sure that the camera is set in the tripod. All right. Okay. I think we got it, guys. Okay, let's grab some pork. So, in general, I just want to give y'all a couple updates about like what the setup has been going on in here and like the changes that we've been doing there. One of which is that I have been rotating these guys. Oh, that's so weird. I have been rotating them in the fridge, and let's see. So these guys are hams 3 and 4. I'm doing them a little bit out of order today, and they got started on. Oh, that's so weird. Sorry, YouTube. The video is reversed, so I'm definitely gonna have to suss that out. This is a new camera angle, a different. Yeah, we're trying out new hardware, so please bear with me. But yeah, anyway, these have been hanging out since the 5th of November, which makes it 1, 2, 3, just over 3 weeks of dry aging. And they're doing really well. I'm always doing the smell check and making sure that nobody's smelling really rotten or anything like that, which is pretty nice. Let's see, there's quite a bit of a pellicle going on here. This is the ham, or rather, this is one of the hams. And in fact, you can even see like this here is the top round section muscle. And then here's the bottom round. Super love that you can just see the individual muscles in there. But really quick, I'm going to take some notes. I should be weighing these, to be honest, but whatever. So. Let's see. Yeah, and so then there's just a little bit of mold. This is cool. This is the end of the leg bone there. Let's see. So Ted's office just asked, what's the target for percentage of loss in the drying? This is different from other dry curing processes. Like this isn't the same as like say doing like a dry aged copa, or sorry, like a dry cured copa or a salami situation, those you're looking for a certain amount of weight loss because you want to mitigate the water activity. These guys, we're not necessarily looking for losing water, although that is a nice side effect for it. When you're doing dry aging without like curing first, what you're doing is taking advantage of the enzymatic process, and that it doesn't have to do with the weight of or like the water content necessarily. But yeah, that's a super good question. If I had like cured these in a salt mixture for like a week or so ahead of time and then hung them up to dry, that would be a case wherein I would be interested in the percentage. And usually that's like a 30% weight loss. That's when you know that your dry aged charcuterie or cured meat is ready to go. But these guys are a little bit of a different process where we're not necessarily paying attention to the weight loss. I'm interested in the weight loss, like for, I don't know, curiosity and scientific purposes, but that's not how we're going to judge doneness when it comes to just plain dry aging. Good question, though. A little testing of mold. Okay. Oh, yeah. And so then these are 2 halves of the same ham. So it went pretty much like this before. I'm so stoked that these are turning out really well. Yeah, and then let's see. Let me get some notes down. Should we put on some Christmas music, guys? Yeah. Maybe I can't put on music now. Huh? Okay. So, good pellicle, dry surface. Got to do a smell check. Okay, that's it for these guys. Okay, so then now we're looking at another bone-in ham, which is pretty exciting. It's looking super good. Just as good as those other guys were. And then this other piece is a saddle from the loin section. And this one I'm super stoked on. This is normally cut like this, like it's normally just this section by itself. But because this was a particularly small pig, I decided that it would be better if I cut it into a saddle, which I'm super stoked on how it's turning out. And it's drying out great. Like this is the skin from the back side of him. This is the loin end here. where I cut here, this other part is where the ham and sirloin end start. And then up here, if this were still connected, it would be the shoulder quarter. Yeah, I'm super stoked on how this guy is turning out. For a little while there, I was a little bit worried because you can see this. Yeah, I'll show it for Instagram. There's a cut here that I went just a little bit too deep on. And I'm really stoked that it's finally like dried out. I was like, it was pulling a little bit of moisture and it wasn't developing a pellicle in the way that I wanted it to. And so I'm super stoked that that finally happened. And the thing that was the game changer that I'm like really surprised by, well, I shouldn't be surprised by it, but like I'm super grateful that this ended up having like the desired effect. But I put a little fan in the fridge with these guys to get the air circulating a little bit more actively in there. And so it turned out super good. Before it was just these two sections, like this part here and this part here, that were drying out properly. I'm so stoked. So this is turning out great. So I'm going to note that. And if anybody is interested in doing dry aging on their own at home, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to like do this kind of experimentation in my own home setup, because I wanted to see like how forgive the pun, but like how bare bones a system I could like set up in my own home to and still successfully be able to dry age something. It worked out really well with the beef. Like that stuff dried out and like aged super beautifully, like on its own with very little intervention on my part. I think there's just barely even a little bit of salt in the bottom, but that's it. Like you didn't put any like a fan or anything in there. Nor did I still don't have like a hygrometer or anything of that nature. Nor do we even have like an extra thermometer in the fridge. I don't know. So anyway, I'm trying really hard to see like what the barest version of the most basic version of dry aging can be at home. And I'm glad to say that I learned this lesson, but the fan is something that is like not, I mean, it's not non-negotiable, but that made a huge difference in like the quality of the aging of the meat. So yeah, I would highly recommend like still just investing in a fan of if you're only going to get one or two things, like get the fan, because that was very helpful. I was like kind of worried about this guy for a little while. Even the panel bone side worked out well. Oh, you know what? Something else that I was like really concerned about for this guy was how I had to saw through these bones with like not a very nice handsaw. And so they're a little bit ragged. Like the cut isn't as clean on the bones. Here, I'm trying to, there. I think you can see it on Instagram right there. It's not as clean as I would have liked it to be. Now I'm framing it up for YouTube. YouTube to see. You can see it's a little bit ragged there. And ideally, especially cuts on bones, you're going to want those to be like as straight as possible. But again, I was doing this at home by myself with a handsaw that isn't the best handsaw in the world. And so it was like not not ideal, but it's turning out still pretty good. Like it's not so far. I haven't seen anything concerning based on like the thickness or the smoothness of that cut. Yeah. So that's probably it for them. Did I note anything? Okay, I did not take any notes for this ham. Oh, and you know what? This guy has been putting on a little bit more mold recently. Here for Instagram, then here for YouTube. those little like flecks of white there, that little brushing. Oh man, I need to figure out how to focus up. That stuff, a lot of that is new. Like it wasn't there even last Friday. Oh yeah, this guy, that line is showing it a lot. And now in this scenario, mold isn't necessarily like the goal either, like in the way that like mold is the goal for certain types of salami, and then also I guess it's not the goal for prosciutto or most uh, whole muscle cures. So it's still not the goal here. Like I'm not banking on the mold to bring flavor or tenderness to the party. We're banking on enzymes to bring flavor to the party, like the enzymes that are already existing within the meat. That's what you're looking to harness. And so if this mold were any other color, like if I were starting to see like blue or green or black mold or even like yellow mold, like that would be cause for concern. But since this is all like white mold, it's still not, again, it's not the goal of this particular preservation process, but it's also fine. It's fine. Like it doesn't represent like a health hazard, like a food safety hazard, which is really what the concern is with the other types of mold. Yeah, this guy's looking pretty good. Good smell. Good. Okay. 11, 30, 21. Very good. Pellicle. Good. Mild pork smell. Yeah. Oh, also, I'm planning on harvesting one of these guys in the near future. So let me know which one y'all think is looking the best. I'm specifically thinking of harvesting a ham this week because it has been, we're now in week, what did I say? It's almost week 4. We're just past week 3. And I feel like it would be a good time to check out one of the flavor and texture that's going on in one of these hams. That's why we're doing 4 half hams, so that we can have like a control and try them out at different ages. And so, yeah, I'm very curious about what this amount of aging has done for them. So yeah, I'm like looking forward to checking out one of these guys in the near future. I think I'm gonna leave the saddle aging for a little while because I'm just like so curious about it. And right now, it's only been just about 3 weeks, which like under normal circumstances, that's like for me, that's like my preferred amount of dry aging. Like I prefer from harvest to butchering. I enjoy like a 2 week age, if not 3 weeks. And so these guys are, it's only been 4 weeks since it was harvested. So this is like kind of on par with normal market pork. And so I'm really curious to see what the saddle does with like pronounced uh, deliberate extra dry aging. So yeah, so we're gonna leave that guy for a little while, but this guy seems like a good candidate to maybe just try it out. And I'm super curious about what this bone in situation is doing in there and seeing if it has like, I don't know if there's anything funky going on with the bone or like how are things going on in there. Because normally with dry aging, what you want to do is maximize the exterior. And so then your interior meat is also then maximized. So you want to leave bone, fat, skin on when you're dry aging. But I'm very curious to see how it's doing internally, like in this department here. Yeah. So it might be this guy. I think we're going to break it down tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see. Good mild pork smell. And he's not even gotten much more mold, which is funny. The other guys seem to have put on a little bit more mold than him. I'm also rotating them in the fridge itself. And so they're getting different points of air circulation in there, which is it's such a luxury to be able to like judge per day and like move these around as needed. Actually, maybe I'll try this side up for a little while because I'm noticing, where was it? I feel like this side is getting so dry. Yeah, that side is getting so dry, and this side is not. So I wonder if I have them up like that. We'll see. Turned on short side. Okay. That might be the one that we end up harvesting. All right. And now we have, let's see, frame that up for both. Okay, so now we have our last ham, this guy, and then the one Boston butt that we have going on. So let's take a look at the ham first. This guy is a boneless ham. It has more mold than any of the others. It smells fine, but this is in fact like the most mold that I've seen on any of these pieces so far, which like I guess isn't like the worst thing in the world, but like because like I said, it's not, white mold doesn't really represent a health hazard by any means, but it is more. This guy, and it's funny because it's getting so dry still, and yet that mold is still thriving in there. That's so interesting. Did you get salt? Some of them I didn't salt, and some of them I did. Like a little good smell, powerful shiny smell. Slick bottom for sure. This one I did salt, and that is still where it's growing the mold. So in my notes, I put that I was salting the bottom round, which is this side. And that's the side that is getting moldy. That's so crazy. I wouldn't have thought. So yeah, so when I was trying to use the salt, it was because I was trying to mitigate the moisture, the surface moisture, and hopefully disinfect a little bit. But I don't know if that really worked the way I wanted it to, because again, this is the bottom round, and that's the stuff that I salted in addition to like this section here, because you can even see that that's still a little bit shiny. Or maybe you can't, but it is a little bit shiny just in like the seam area. That seemed to have a lot of like moisture pooling in there. But yeah, it didn't prevent mold. I mean, I don't think it's rotting, but yeah, it didn't prevent the mold that I totally thought it was going to. This might be the right candidate to do first, to harvest first. How interesting. 11, 30, 21. Lots of mold. White. Yeah, that is funky. I wish I had a microscope. I feel like it would look really, really cool to see what all that is in a different at a different level. But again, it's still just the white mold, and so I'm not super worried. This might, oh man, I keep saying it about the roast, but I feel like this would be a really good candidate to try out, to test out for my 3-week check-in. Again, this is like the normal amount of time. This isn't the normal like aging situation. But 3 weeks is my preferred amount of time for a carcass to hang in the cooler. I've heard differing things from like, oh, it should only go for like 10 days or 7 days. Then it starts to get funky. And then, I mean, I believe it. I do believe it. But in terms of like the way that the muscles like come together and like kind of congeal a little bit more after a few weeks of hanging, my preference is 3 weeks. Lots of mold. Okay, so that's all I feel like I have to say about that guy. And then this, I'm super stoked on because this guy, holy shit. This is the Boston butt, the one Boston butt that I've been aging, and you can see that is some aggressive mold up in there. And again, I feel like I did salt that end. This side is getting moldy too, but it's not as much. And like there's not really any other mold elsewhere, even in this like cavity area that is pretty clear, free and clear. It's smelling really good. But yeah, that is a tense amount. Oh, you know what? That might not even be mold. That might actually be, no, I think it is mold. Because it's funny, like with the fan going on in there, I added a fan for anybody who's like new to joining. I put a little computer fan in with the meat. And so the pellicles have been forming really nicely. But this mold situation, like there's still been mold in there. And I'm like, that is so surprising. I didn't think that mold would thrive in an environment with that much air circulation, but maybe it's because like I waited so long to add the fan in there that the mold had time to like get a foothold in there. I don't know. That's weird. It's cool. I'm really excited. Again, it's still just white mold, and so I'm not worried about like the spoilage factor or anything like that. But yeah, this guy's gonna turn out super good, I think. Yeah, because there's like a ton of marbling in there and like a lot of good fat and like really cool different muscles for different textures. So I'm like really excited to see, like, look how hard that is. I'm like wailing on him. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It does smell really good still. That spot doesn't smell like anything. I was hoping that if I were to see white mold, it would maybe start to smell like camembert or something like that, because it's supposed to be that same type of bacteria. But it doesn't really smell like camembert. It smells like pork. White spots on neck and mold burn. Oh, because that's the other thing, is that because I put the fan in there, the other possibility is that this could be essentially freezer burn, where the dryness of like the air circulating is what'll cause like weird surface area stuff. I don't know. I'm still pretty sure it's mold. I am gonna put these in a different spot because these two are the most like aggressively moldy. Everything else is just like a very light dusting. And like to be fair, like this is still a relatively light dusting. But we'll see. It seems like this particular spot in the fridge is more conducive to that growth. So I want to see what happens when we switch what meat is where. Switch shelf. I think this is on the third shelf down. 3, 2, 1. Shelf 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm gonna pop them back in now. Oh, right. And again, I did finally add a fan, and so this is the one, this is the guy that I added. Technically, it is battery. It does have battery capabilities, but it's a, I mean, I don't have a battery, rechargeable battery situation. So anyway, I also have, it has this AC outlet, and I'm super stoked because the cord is really narrow. And so it doesn't bother the gasket on the fridge door. So yeah, there's that. And that's about it for our dry aging situation check-in. If y'all want to head over to YouTube, I have a whole pig breakdown video up right now. And then in the near future, I'll be doing more individual videos regarding like the little bits of charcuterie and other cooking bits. So for example, I made head cheese last week. There's a lot of footage about that and like a little bit of cooking stuff. I made bacon, which is turning out really good. And it's so nice to have just like a slab of bacon to make lardons out of at home. And then, yeah, some really fun crispy skin trials coming up. So yeah, hit me up over on YouTube. It's Butchery 101. And then also feel free to become a Patreon if you're so inclined. Yeah, so thanks so much for joining, everybody, and hope you all have a nice day. Oh, and then let me know in the comments if you do or do not enjoy this new camera angle format. I'm trying something out. I would like this one better currently for me because it means that I don't have to like put on makeup in order to live stream with y'all. And like, I think this centers the more important thing, which is that we're going to look at meat and talk about it. So yeah, let me know. All right, talk to y'all soon. Bye. And bye, YouTube. We'll see you soon.